October 2003. Steve Jobs walks into a doctor's office for a routine kidney stone scan. What they find changes everything. A tumor on his pancreas. Pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest cancers in the world. Except Jobs got lucky. His tumor was a rare type that's actually curable. The doctors are clear: get surgery immediately and you'll likely survive. Jobs says no. For 9 months, he refuses the operation. He tries fruit juice diets,
Acupuncture, herbal remedies, spiritual healers. His wife begs him. His friends plead with him. His doctors warn him. But Steve Jobs, the man who revolutionized technology by thinking differently, makes a decision that will cost him everything: his health, his company, his life, and possibly $10 billion. This is the story of how the smartest man in Silicon Valley made the dumbest decision of his life.
October 2003. Steve Jobs is 48 years old and at the peak of his power. He's brought Apple back from the brink of bankruptcy. The iPod is revolutionizing music. He's a billionaire, a visionary, untouchable. Then comes the scan. A routine CT scan for kidney stones reveals something unexpected: a small tumor on his pancreas. The word pancreatic cancer sends chills through anyone who hears it. It's a death sentence. Only 5% of patients survive 5 years. But here's where Jobs gets incredibly, impossibly lucky. His tumor isn't the common deadly type. It's a neuroendocrine tumor, specifically an islet cell tumor. This type grows slowly, and most importantly, it's curable with surgery. The survival rate with immediate surgery? Over 90%. His doctors are optimistic. Remove the tumor now before it spreads, and Jobs can live a normal life, maybe decades more. But there's a catch. The surgery isn't simple. They'd need to perform a Whipple procedure, removing part of the pancreas, small intestine, and bile duct. It's major surgery, months of recovery. And Steve Jobs doesn't want to do it.
Jobs makes a decision that shocks everyone around him. He refuses surgery. Instead, he tells his doctors he wants to try alternative treatments. He changes his diet to extreme vegan regimens, mostly fruit juices and carrot smoothies. He consults acupuncturists. He tries herbal remedies from various cultures. He sees spiritual healers. He believes his body can heal itself if he just finds the right combination of natural treatments. His wife, Lorene Powell Jobs, is devastated. She begs him to listen to the doctors. His friends, including his biographer, Walter Isaacson, try to convince him.
Even his Apple board members are worried. But Jobs is stubborn. He's always trusted his intuition over conventional wisdom. That's how he built Apple. That's how he created the iPhone. He thinks he knows better than the doctors. For 9 months, he sticks to his alternative treatments. 9 critical months. 9 months where the cancer isn't being treated. 9 months where it's quietly, invisibly growing, spreading, moving beyond the pancreas into his lymph nodes, into his liver. By the time Jobs finally agrees to surgery in July 2004, it's too late. July 31st, 2004. Nearly 9 months after his diagnosis, Steve Jobs finally has the surgery, the Whipple procedure. It takes hours. The surgeons remove the tumor and examine the surrounding tissue. What they find is devastating. The cancer has spread. It's in his lymph nodes. The surgery that would have been curative 9 months ago is now just damage control. Jobs recovers from the operation, and for a while, he seems okay. He returns to Apple. He continues working. He keeps his illness largely secret from the public. But privately, he knows the truth. The cancer is still there, and now it's much harder to fight.
Over the next 7 years, Jobs battles the disease. He tries everything: chemotherapy, radiation, targeted therapies. In 2009, he gets a liver transplant in Tennessee, desperately hoping it will buy him more time. But the cancer keeps coming back. His body grows weaker. His famous charisma fades. By 2011, he's a shadow of himself. On August 24, 2011, he resigns as Apple CEO. 6 weeks later, on October 5, 2011, Steve Jobs dies at his home in Palo Alto, California. He's 56 years old.
In his final years, Steve Jobs did something he rarely did. He admitted he was wrong. In conversations with his biographer, Walter Isaacson, Jobs opened up about his decision to delay surgery. He said, quote, "I really didn't want them to open up my body, so I tried to see if a few other things would work." He continued, "I was stupid. I should have gotten the surgery immediately. I didn't want my body to be violated in that way." Jobs, the man who famously never apologized, never admitted mistakes, confessed that his stubbornness may have cost him his life. His doctors agreed. Dr. Ramzi Amri, a cancer researcher at Harvard, later analyzed Jobs' case and stated that with immediate surgery, Jobs likely would have survived. The 9-month delay allowed the cancer to metastasize. What was a highly curable cancer became terminal. Jobs himself knew it. In one of his last conversations, he told Isaacson, "I think differently. That's both my greatest strength and my fatal flaw."
So why did Steve Jobs, one of the smartest people in the world, make such a terrible decision? Several factors played a role. First, his personality. Jobs was a control freak. He believed in his intuition above all else. His entire career was built on doing things his way, ignoring experts and proving doubters wrong. That mindset built Apple, but it failed him in medicine. Second, his spirituality. Jobs was deeply influenced by Eastern philosophy and Buddhism. He believed in the power of consciousness, diet, and natural healing. He thought Western medicine was too invasive, too mechanical. Third, denial.
Cancer is terrifying. The idea of being cut open, of losing control of his body, was unbearable to him. Alternative treatments let him feel like he was still in charge. And fourth, arrogance. Jobs had beaten the odds his entire life. He dropped out of college and built a trillion-dollar company. He was fired from Apple and came back to save it. He revolutionized 6 different industries. Why wouldn't he beat cancer his way too? But cancer doesn't care about your track record. It doesn't care how smart you are, and it doesn't respond to willpower.
Steve Jobs' decision didn't just cost him his life, it cost the world. When Jobs died in 2011, Apple was worth about $350 billion. Today, it's worth over $3 trillion. Many analysts believe that if Jobs had lived, Apple would have innovated even faster. The Apple Watch, the Vision Pro, self-driving cars, all projects Jobs was passionate about. Some estimates suggest that Jobs' continued leadership could have added another $10 billion to his personal net worth. But more than money, the world lost his vision.
His ability to see products that people didn't know they needed, his relentless pursuit of perfection, his reality distortion field that pushed teams to achieve the impossible, all gone because he waited 9 months. His family lost a husband and father. His children grew up without him. Apple lost its soul, and all of it was preventable if he had just listened to his doctors, if he had gotten the surgery immediately, if he had set aside his ego and his fear. Steve Jobs could still be alive today.
Steve Jobs' story is a tragedy, but it's also a lesson. Intelligence doesn't make you immune to bad decisions. Success in one area doesn't transfer to another. And sometimes the unconventional thinking that makes you great
can also destroy you. Jobs revolutionized personal computers, animated movies, music, phones, tablets, and retail. He changed the world more than almost anyone in the 21st century. But he couldn't change one simple fact. Some things can't be willed away. Some problems need experts. Some situations require humility. In his Stanford commencement speech in 2005, Jobs famously said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." But by refusing the surgery his doctors recommended, he wasted the time he had left. He lived and died entirely on his own terms, and the world is poorer for it.
History's greatest figures weren't perfect, they were human. At Veil of History, we tell the real stories behind the legends. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you never miss another untold truth. Because even geniuses make mistakes, and those mistakes change everything.